Hey, what's up, everybody? Joey J. Pink checking in live, man. RespectMyRegion.com. We're here at the Mermaid Suite, the Cosmopolitan Hotel, man. Big shout out to True Terpenes and Angela Pye for their hospitality here. I'm with a special guest. We've got Drew Henson, TOQi Technologies. TOQi hardware was a couple years. We've got this new project that you're working on, TOQidex. How we living today?
We're living good. We're living good in a transition period.
You've been busy.
Yeah, I mean, the world's changing. The world's changing in such a fast pace that, you know, it's hard to put a flag down in the ground for a software initiative as to where the metrics should be, you know, and how much it costs to make things, you know.
But you're an innovator.
Yeah.
So just because there's a challenge or a problem in front of us doesn't mean that you're not going to innovate and engineer some kind of solution to help the situation.
100%.
And this is where the journey is taking us to now. The reality we're at today is you're working on a software project. This TOQidex endeavor. You were showing me something last night. You took a photo of some product and some packaging, and it was able to show me all this information, and there was machine learning involved. So if you could, what is this project that is TOQidex, and if you can share some information for the people, because I was blown away because of how quickly that worked.
Yeah, no worries. Well, to back it up, 2019, we start working on our hardware. We drop our 510 battery, focusing on how to make the power system better, including the first 510 wireless charging system. You know, that single battery lasted for 6 years in the market without needing to have a V2 update. We made tweaks to it from the engineering side to make sure it worked, but from a consumer satisfaction perspective, it either worked or we invested in customer satisfaction to make you satisfied with how we responded. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But fast forward to now, you know, I'm walking the show floor now, and the hardware game is very saturated, you know, and it's hard to get excited about making another vape.
There's more nicotine vape makers, manufacturers coming in, it seems, all the time.
And they all have they're just kind of like moving towards a similar form factor, it feels like. And
small, and it looks like the all-in-ones.
Yeah, which is cool and fine, and it serves a purpose. But in terms of, does the world need another vape battery?
More plastic.
You know? No, it doesn't.
More stuff on the ground.
For me and my values and why I create, I only make things that help people. You know, I'm at a place where there is a lot easier ways to make money than to try and battle against the hardware world in the cannabis space. You know.
There's a lot more ways to help people. There are more people than weed people that need help.
Absolutely, but I guess like my superpower is just, here you go, and it's something new, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think there's a bigger problem to be solved, you know, than how to make a dab better these days. And fundamentally, that question comes down to what product is right for me, what product is right for you.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm in Canada right now, I hear that doctors can't even make a product recommendation specific to the product, because they're not allowed to basically tell you this product will have these effects definitively, right? And that makes sense. Everybody knows that everybody's different.
The first thing we learn in cannabis is that it's different for everybody. So it's hard to make that recommendation and say, it will, right? And that's where I was taught to phrase, it potentially can. It might be able to do this with you.
Absolutely.
This software, this machine learning, how does it go into, how does it work to help provide information that makes a more likely accurate recommendation?
So let me paint the vision of how it works on the outside, so you understand why it would be useful. Imagine like walking into the store and them being like, here's all the products, what you want, and just being like, bang, bang, bang. And then your phone comes back to you and says, this one's going to be 70% anxious for you. That one's not going to do that, but that one's going to put you to sleep. And that one is full of myrcene, which we know is bad for you, so stay the F away. That's the kind of benefit that I'm talking about, is being able to mathematically and statistically have an understanding of, sure, it's not definitively true, but I know mathematically how true the advice I'm taking is. And that's what machine learning empowers us to do. It's the ability to make predictions from an input to an output based on that happening repeatedly, right? And so in the cannabis space, what I think is interesting is that we all agree, or mostly agree, that cannabinoids and terpenes plus some other factors influence the consumer's emotional and physical output.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Then we need to map that, right? So we need to say that if we're going to be doing product selection for people, If that's not based in cannabinoids and terpenes, then what's it based in, right?
Well, that's one of the key questions I have is like, we have all this data, but what is it but that number, 8, 7, 9, 90, 7% terps this for a vape or a dab, 3% in flower if it's great flower, right? That potency that someone says is different for everybody. That number means or is effective and has impact on somebody different. So how do we translate this data and have it actually be like trustworthy, or like it's like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. This is translatable.
So what I'll say is kind of twofold. There's an approach that's currently being taken by a lot of the POS companies, and that approach is I'm gonna data mine the inputs of the sales figures and what's sold.
I do think that identifies
and what's sold
behaviors
to who
and stuff like that.
It identifies behaviors, but it still groups people for the wrong reasons when we're talking about what's the right product for somebody.
I can see how that can happen.
Because what it's going to tell you is you bought these last 5 products, puts you into this category.
Oh, he's a dabber.
Right?
Oh, this guy, 80% of what he bought is pre-rolls, so he must only smoke pre-rolls.
But then you might load him up with that one combination of terpenes and cannabinoids that's going to make that dude a little wild.
Yeah, for 6 months, and they go 80% the other way, because now all of a sudden they love this weed. They just decide, oh man, it tasted way better rolling it myself, right?
Yeah. So what I've been doing for the last 5 years is training my own models based on my own data. At first, I wanted to see if it was possible. I wanted to see if I could get the models to report that they were working properly, right? And what happens in machine learning is this. You take a set of data, let's say you have 10 or 100, right? You train the models on, let's say, the first half of the data, and then you make the model, and then you have the last half of the data to test the model. So you legitimately know how good the model is based on how it performs on your test part, right? And that's the mathematical part where you can gauge the accuracy of these models.
Interesting.
And so what I had to do was figure out, okay, well, what's going to be on the output side, right? Inside this industry, there's no common ground on what quality means. There's no common ground on what is a recreational experience, right? So, when I think back to it, I think it was Joshua Hoffman or sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, but he defined it properly. There's coefficients that are missing, right? And so when you think about hot sauce, right? It's trial and error. If you just pick up a bottle of hot sauce, you're like, I don't know, trial and error. You're gonna get burned or you're not.
Yeah, that's fair.
Until the Scoville meter existed, right? Now there's a way for people to understand how that's gonna impact them.
Enough people were able to find common ground on these base layers, right? This base foundation that we could make something out of that. Okay, that makes sense.
And so
I thought you were going crazy on me for a second. I was wondering where you were going with this hot sauce tangent. And I know our readers and watchers and everybody were too.
That's the analogy, right? And so you need to define what an experience is. So for us, we define it as the overall score somebody would give a product. And that sounds a little wish-washy, but you realize it removes trying to figure out what quality means for somebody. For somebody, it could be how it smells, feels, touch, smells, but so long as that person is consistent in reporting for them, that experience was this, then the math should work for them, right?
So let's just say, because we're here at MJBizCon, right? And so you're here to help people. You're here to provide this more data-driven, constantly evolving experience for people to improve their cannabis experience at the end of the day. How does a brand get involved with you? How does business happen with this new software venture that you're working on?
So there's a brand aspect as well, where brands can upload their COAs into the database.
Oh, so then it just learns from this actual lab-driven data.
Well, here's the thing about brands. Brands typically give out a lot of samples and don't necessarily get a whole lot of data back for it.
Yes.
There's some sampling programs that they do. Sometimes they work with some people and they do bud tender training, of course. But by and large, there's massive amounts of dollars given out without getting any feedback back. And so what I did was create the TOQidex in a manner where we utilize AI so that you can upload your COAs. It scans, it extracts all the cannabinoids, terpenes, batch number, classifies what kind of product it is, and then just makes that super simple for you so the product's ready and available. Then you can create a branded survey. So at your trade events or to your bud tender events, you send them a link, and it's super simple. You put your questions up that you want, and you're able to get the data back and the feedback for it.
Huge for a new product or a launch or an R&D, or seeing if you're comparing this batch versus this batch for money, because a 22% is not going to sell like a 31%, no matter what the COA says. The customer's going to pick the stupid number, right?
That, but also, here's the thing. How many brands do you see on the show floor that classify their products as this one's going to make you sleep, this one's going to make you excited? This
Yeah.
that's the monikers that they're saying.
Drives me nuts when they do that with flour.
Well,
I buy into it with edibles.
No. Yes. But the thing is you're classifying what the experience is going to be for the customer when you do that. And by doing that, you're making a promise to your customer. And so my question to these brands is, do you ever close the loop to ask your customers if they're actually having the experience you're selling them?
Yeah, beyond Google reviews or Instagram posts, gassing it up.
And tying it back to your cannabinoid and terpene profile.
Let alone, so it's like beyond the social post, just somebody saying it. Is there data to actually, question-driven data to really get that feedback?
So
that's cool, man.
With the TOQidex, I actually went for the brands first, and I did it publicly. We went to Hall of Flowers, we chatted and talked to brands, and honestly, they all said the same thing. We like this, but they also mostly did the same thing. Didn't use it repeatedly, to be absolutely honest. It wasn't something that they wanted to pay for. And this kind of touches on a point that the world's moving so fast these days that what made sense even in my business plan a year ago makes no sense these days, right? And so
frustrating that feedback and listening to the customers isn't as important. Isn't that crazy?
So, absolutely, brother. So right now what I've done is I switched it up. All the brand features are free, and we'll talk about why in a second. There is a paid service for API access, but if you're a brand and you give out samples and you want to query or you want to learn anything about the genetic relationship to consumer experience, then just use the platform. It's free.
Yeah.
For consumers, however, I'm just obsessed with helping people understand what's right for them. It fucking drives me insane that somebody has MS and they have to trial and error what cannabinoids and terpenes are.
To make it worse, and they paid for it to make it worse on accident.
So what I decided and realized was, instead of training the brand software to get this big pool of data to make models that people could access and we could figure out which model's right for you, I'm going to build a tool where people can make their own models. And they can transparently see how good that model actually is.
Take a picture of the product that you're smoking, the link gets sent to yourself, answer the data, and then start to create your own learning process within that.
So how anxious you get, how creative you get, how sleepy you get, and then there's 13 medical conditions.
Wow.
That, I'm not sitting here saying the app will tell you definitively what will work, but I am telling you that it will tell you mathematically what has worked for you and statistically how well it thinks that will work.
Compared against the other data and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Again, constantly evolving, constantly learning. And this user information, this feedback loop that you're creating is imperative to improving experiences and mitigating bad experiences. With patients like myself, I'm a kidney stone patient, I'm already dehydrated. If there was information that told me this particular strain and this indica, which you love and flavor and they have high scores over here, but Joey, it hurts your back and makes you more stiff. That kind of stuff is really, really important. Especially if you're able to teach something and continue making those, I would say, safe choices. When it comes to health, we should be improving safety and better, more consistent experiences for customers. Drew, I really appreciate you being here, man. It's been a pleasure. I hope you have a wonderful MJBizCon show experience. What's the one goal for you today? What's your message for the people, if there's anything?
Oh, please keep pushing the innovation forward so that next time I come here, I'm super excited to share your cool shit.
Let's go, man. Come on, man. Drew Henson, TOQidex, Toki Technologies in the building. Joey J. Ping, Respect My Region. Big shout out to the Mermaid Suite here at the Cosmopolitan and our wonderful suite host here, True Terpenes and Angela Pye. I love you guys. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.